affected by West Village in Chukwawa district. And Competition and Fair Trading Commission warns to penalize traders engaging in exploitative pricing following the recent electricity and fuel price hike. Thank you for joining us. Now the news in detail. Government has noted with serious concern recent public statements attributed to some government officials insinuating that priority in the distribution of relief items and access to the Farm Input Subsidy Program FISIP should be given to those who voted for the current administration. According to a press statement signed by Chief Secretary in the Office of the President, Justin Saidi, the position of President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika's administration is clear and unequivocal in stating that every Malawian, regardless of political affiliation or how they voted in the 2025 tripartite elections, is entitled to fair and equal access to relief assistance and all government and social support programs. The statement further says all public officers are therefore directed to continue strictly observing, implementing and riding on the President's One Malawi vision and to administer all government programs solely in the national interest. The African Fertilizer and Agribusiness Partnership, AFAP, with funding from the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, AGRA, has launched the Regain project, which seeks to promote adoption of technological solutions to reduce post-harvest food loss among smallholder farmers. Speaking at the launch of the project, Country Director for AFAP, Margaret Chimpikiso, said the project will help farmers make more profits after selling their produce. Lonjezon Sodoga has filed this report, being read by Margaret Mapando.
Speaking at the launch, AFAP Country Director Margaret Chimpikiso said most farmers face high post-crop harvest loss due to various factors such as inadequate storage infrastructure, poor handling practices, limited access to financing and climate-resilient technologies. She therefore said the project will equip farmers with skills and expertise to adopt food loss reduction technologies such as metal and plastic silos for better profits. Chimpikiso elaborated that currently farmers lose over 30% of legumes and grains after harvesting, a situation she described as worrisome.
We are working with private sector input suppliers to make sure that the different solutions that they have, the pix bags, the threshers, the tarpaulins, the moisture meters, reach smallholder farmers where they can actually, use them and, creating demand also from smallholder farmer level for them to understand the need to invest in these technologies.
Isaac Tembo is post-harvest specialist at AGRA and says AGRA has pumped $4 million into the project.
A total of $4 million has been pumped in to support the adoption of food losses, post-harvest management in Malawi through our partner AFAP and other implementing partners.
One of the off-takers at the meeting, Ellen Gunde, expressed gratitude, saying the project will benefit off-takers by ensuring they purchase higher quality produce from farmers.
We've had a gap of post-harvest management. As you are aware that our groundnut has issues of aflatoxin, and this post-harvest management, if it is poor, it also contributes to aflatoxin infestation. So the coming in of this project brings in a solution to a problem that has been there for quite a long time.
The project will run for 3 years in Mzimba, Rumpi, Kasungu and Lilongwe districts and targets 50% of women farmers.
Government says it will put in place mechanisms to ensure that road construction projects are getting adequate funding. Minister of Transport and Public Works Jabi Mhango made the assurance after touring construction works of Neno Road and Lilongwe Chingali Machinga Road. Mhango said it is encouraging that despite erratic funding, contractors in charge are delivering good work. We have a report by Geoffrey Chinawa.
According to Mhango, in the past, there had been a tendency of not paying contractors, a development that has affected workmanship. He then assured contractors that from now government will be honoring its contractual obligations. However, he warned that this should never be a scapegoat for contractors to be delivering substandard work. On the construction progress of Neno Road and the Lilangwe Chingare Road, Muhango said he is satisfied with the progress made so far.
Where, as you know, the economy was run down, and the President, Professor Thabita Mutharika, is doing his utmost to resuscitate the airing economy, and this is impacting heavily on most of these projects. So far, so good. That's all I can say. However, I wanted to say one thing. I've asked contractors to make sure that they are executing these works under three pillars. One is standard, two is time, third is within cost. These three pillars are very, very critical in as far as government and our ministry is concerned.
Engineer Ameo Champiti is the Chief Executive Officer for Roads Authority, RA.
I must say these projects are among the leading in terms of performance. The Lilangwe Chipini Road, it falls in the section of about 60 kilometers, but the contract is for 20 kilometers. Looking at the time when the contractor started work and what he has done so far, from April to December this year, last year, he has done approximately 10 kilometers of completed road section. That is very good performance.
The construction works of Neno Road is being done by China Railway 20 Bureau Group Corporation, while China Civil Engineering Construction is responsible for the construction of the Lilangwe Chingale Machinga Road, and they have since worked on a 10 kilometers stretch. Jeffrey Shinawa, MBC, Blantyre.
Government has ordered Presken Limited to compensate all people affected by West spillage crisis emanating from its poor waste management in Chikwawa district. Meanwhile, authorities at the company said they are ready to comply with the order. We have a joint report by Charles Chindongo and Hamida Kasembe being read by Romeo Umali.
Guilty as charged. The company is failing to manage its wastes, putting the lives of many people in the Shire Valley at a risk of airborne diseases, among others. The firm's poor waste disposal resulted in the spillage of effluent to people's homes and contamination of water sources. Speaking after a meeting with the management of the company, Minister of Irrigation and Water Development, Rosa Fachimbirizi, who led the government delegation to resolve the waste discharge dispute, advised the company to put its house in order. Mbirizi further described the situation in Chikwawa as inhumane.
As a government, we intend to resolve this issue by using the law. We have laws that govern the disposal of waste, and as you can see, the effluent management system here is very poor. It's affecting the crops around the area, the environment, including the health of the community around this area. So because the company has not adhered or addressed the issues that were raised by the National Water Resources Board and the Malawi Environmental Protection Authority, then we'll apply the full arm of the law.
Echoing the same is the line minister, Alfred Kangata.
They need to do the right thing because, there is a lot of people here, there is animals, there is crops that are affected because of this thing. So they need to do the right thing so that these things are not affected.
Meanwhile, authorities at the ethanol company in the district have vowed to compensate all the victims. Bryson Nkomantu is the Chief Executive Officer for Presken Limited.
And there is a due process that is followed, and we are also going to follow the same procedures that normally it's led by the council.
Presken Limited is one of the subsidiaries of conglomerate Press Corporation Limited.
Traders found to be engaging in exploitative pricing following the recent electricity and fuel price hikes risk being penalized by the Competition and Fair Trading Commission (CFTC). The CFTC's spokesperson, Innocent Helema, has told NBC that they are closely monitoring the market. We have a report.
As government continues its efforts to realign a number of key misaligned markets, last week members of the public saw the authorities effecting increased fuel prices and electricity. This was done to ensure tariffs and pricing of the two resources are in line with the actual market value towards stabilizing the market in the long run. However, there have been fears that some unscrupulous traders may start effecting unreasonable price adjustments on various goods and services in taking advantage of the situation, a development that Consumers Association of Malawi KAMA Executive Director John Capito has warned against.
Unscrupulous traders, remember, if you don't know how much this fuel contributes to your prices, then we will let you know. Because you cannot load everything that has been added on the price of fuel to your products and goods and services. There's a small percentage that you should increase your products with or your services with. Then we will find you. We will be monitoring the market in the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
According to the CFTC, traders are not supposed to effect adjustments that will give them profits surpassing 20%. The Commission's publicist, Innocent Helema, states that they are on high alert with market surveillance.
We are issuing a stern warning to traders against using the fuel increase as a pretext to unreasonably raise prices of goods and services. To ensure market integrity, the Commission will be proactive on the market through market surveillances, and of course will also depend on consumer-led intelligence. Once potential misconduct is detected, we will not hesitate to launch formal investigations and sanction any entity found to be.
Section 51, subsection Q of the Competitions and Fair Trading Act (CFTA) prohibits excessive and exploitative pricing as it infringes on consumer rights. Meanwhile, should any company or former trader be found guilty of contravening the CFTA as a result of the two realignment-induced government price movements, they will face penalties, which include fines equal to 10% of their annual turnover. Malawi is a liberal market, but where necessary, government intervenes to control trade to protect consumers. Edin Chimoyo, NBC News, Blantyre.
You're watching NBC News and you are with me, Alice Chungambe. A reminder of our top stories. Government will distribute relief items and provide access to farm import subsidy program to each and every Malawian, regardless of their political affiliation. Prescan Limited ordered to compensate all people affected by West spillage in Chikwawa district. And Competition and Fair Trading Commission warns to penalize traders engaging in exploitative pricing following the recent electricity and fuel price hike. Welcome back. Malawi Bureau of Standards (MBS) has confiscated some cosmetic products from a shop in Lilongwe due to lack of proper labeling. MBS has since called upon traders and suppliers to set up compliance with standard requirements when selling products. MBS Senior Certification Officer Masozi Mwenifumbo made the remarks in Lilongwe during a market surveillance conducted in various shops. Olive Perry reports.
To ensure compliance with Malawi standards, protect consumers and prevent substandard products on the market, the Malawi Bureau of Standards has embarked on market surveillance in various shops. The exercise aims at checking whether shops are selling expired or banned products and to assess storage conditions and the labeling of goods. During the exercise in Lilongwe, MBS confiscated some cosmetics from China Weave shop due to improper labeling of the products and fined the shop 500,000 kwacha. Senior Certification Officer for the Malawi Bureau of Standards, Masozi Mwenifumbo, said there is need for the traders to sell quality products in order to protect the consumers.
Some of the products they are imported from abroad and some countries, but if you look at some individual items, you see that they are not marked with some details. For example, the contents, the net weight of the goods, and of course the ingredients. And some are not even labeled with the country of origin. So once we find those products, we do impound for proper redress.
Meanwhile, the Malawi Bureau of Standards says there is an improvement in the way most shops are handling products compared to last year when there were many cases related to poor storage. Olive Piri, MBC News, Lilongwe.
In a related development, MBS has appealed to all companies, both in production and selling chains, to ensure that they keep robust quality control systems and adhere to Malawi's relevant standards. MBS Acting Regional Manager for the Central Region, Raphael Mbingo, said this after inspecting Shoprite USafe, Sana shops and markets in Limbi, Blantyre. Mbingo observed that it is encouraging that the shops are complying with the required standards.
We have visited Sana and Shoprite. We are a bit more impressed with the progress that has been made. Because in these shops we didn't find much things. So in the past we used to find lots of expired things in these shops, many of these shops in Malawi. But this time around when we came, we found that the people that are doing business, they are responding to our call so that they should always maintain their shops clean. They should always maintain that their products, they are in good condition. So yeah, we found some small issues in here, but much of the things that we found in Shoprite and also in Sana, they are all compliant. In here we found some bags of our local maize flour, which the dates are not visible. So for those, we'll quarantine them, and then we'll ask the manufacturers to come and fetch these things out of the shop.
Mzuzu City Council has called upon stakeholders to join hands on issues of sanitation and hygiene to turn the city into a favorable environment for businesses, tourism and other activities. Mzuzu City Council Public Relations Officer McDonald Conway made the call when the university youth from World Mission Society Church of God conducted a cleaning exercise at the Mzuzu main market. Alex Mangosi has filed this report, being read by Blessings Conway.
For a long period of time, the City Council has been struggling to make the city clean, affecting the revenue collection in the process, as some vendors could boycott paying tax. Spokesperson for the council, McDonald Gondwe, says now they are reviving sanitation initiatives to keep the evergreen city clean, the task which he said requires collective efforts. Gondwe, who was speaking after Access played a crucial role in cleaning at Mzuzu City Market, says stakeholders should change their mindsets and be responsible on keeping Mzuzu City clean.
Usually people think that the duty to clean up the city rests in the hands of the City Council alone, when in essence we are supposed to join hands. So we call upon other institutions and other groupings to embrace the cause that has been shown by this faithful grouping, to be responsible enough in supporting the council's call for a clean and clean city.
Access student Anna Young said the sweeping campaign is part of many charitable activities university students of the World Mission Society Church of God are undertaking to help the mankind.
Access is working to build a sustainable society through climate response activity. So to protect this, we do cleanup activity today.
Apart from the clean-up campaigns, Access is also involved in reducing crime among the youth, climate change response, disaster relief, and general community services, including donating blood.
Nkosi Yamakosi Mbera 5 of the Mzimbangoni says true development goes beyond infrastructure, stating that it must also focus on good health, quality education, and economic empowerment of citizens. We have a report by George Nkandawere.
The meeting, which brought together different stakeholders, was aimed at sharing development goals for the council after 16 September general elections. Among those in attendance included former Vice President Kumbo Kachari, who is also a Member of Parliament from Mzimba South-West, Minister of Health Madalitso Valoi, who is MP from Mzimba Kafukule, Virumbiko Mumba, MP from Mzimba Central, alongside other district leaders. In his remarks, Nkosi Yamakosi Mbera V of Mzimba said the interface meeting was aimed at consolidating community and district development.
When we look at development, it's not just only infrastructure, but even personal development for people in the community. Economically, education, health, all those, that is development. So I made that call to the members of parliament that when we are discussing development, we should include all these areas.
Mzimba District Commissioner Emmanuel Burukutu said the council has lined up a number of development projects that will transform the district.
There are some other projects which are of district interest, and some are cost-cutting in terms of constituencies. We thought maybe we should also agree on those ones. Basically, this was a consultative meeting with invitation from His Majesty Nkosi Yamakosi Mbera. We thought that his people need to sit down and agree on key projects.
On her part, Member of Parliament from Mzimba Kafukule, Madalitso Valoi, who is also Minister of Health, said such platform will help in attaining local and district development.
We thought we could come here and discuss. We should come up with the development agendas. The issue of red network is really a problem in Nzimba. And in Nzimba Kafukule, just to connect from one community to another, we are finding problems. So as we were here, we submitted our development plans from the constituency that were developed by the ADCs.
And the former Vice President Kumbo Kachari, who is also a Member of Parliament from Mzimba South-West, said such meetings are good, considering that government has allocated 5 billion kwacha to every constituency.
My appeal is members of Parliament, our traditional authorities, our councillors, and our Secretary of the District Commissioner. We should work as a team.
Mzimba's 13 members of Parliament, translating that the council will have 65 billion kwacha annually. George Nkandawire, MBC, Mzimba.
And now in sports, the Malawi National Council of Sports has received 137 nominations ahead of this year's Malawi Sports Awards to take place in Salima on the 27th of February. Making the announcement in Blantyre today, Chairperson for the Organizing Committee, Limbani Matola, described the response as overwhelming and the best since the introduction of the awards in 2017.
The process has received overwhelming support. 137 entries have been received from different sport associations and media houses. We are talking about 27 sport associations and 17 media houses that have so far submitted their nominations. This is quite encouraging on our part. It's a demonstration of confidence and trust that our sport associations and our media houses are having on Malawi Sport Awards. And the increase in number is significant because it speaks, it's a statement of credibility and integrity of the whole process. What's next going forward is that from 28th to 30th of January, independent judges will now scrutinize each and every nomination. They're going to shortlist it and they're going to grade, to put marks on each and every nomination that we have received. And after that process, they will come up with the top 3 nominations or top 3 nominees in each and every category. Remember, we have 16 categories. And these top 3 will now be given to Malawians so that Malawians also put their vote and their voice into the process.
And that's it from our newsroom this afternoon. A recap of our top stories before we leave. Government will distribute relief items and provide access to farm import subsidy program to each and every Malawian, regardless of their political affiliation. Prescan Limited ordered to compensate all people affected by West spillage in Chukwawa district. And Competition and Fair Trading Commission warns to penalize traders engaging in exploitative pricing following the recent electricity and fuel price hike. For more updates, visit MBC Digital on Facebook, X, and Instagram. You've been with me, Evelis Chingambe. Thanks for watching and bye for now.
What's your name? Gary, huh? It's my game.
We put everything into this. Those that can do it and succeed,
how to fix it.
This city
it
has
isn't
been
just a
my home
cookbook, it's part
of being hit here.
with the latest global news and insightful documentary.
Transition.
Understanding the
But if you ask them know